Hi guys, welcome to Algebra 1/2, Lesson 81. Today we're talking about percents that are greater than 100. So we've already learned percents and how we can draw these diagrams to help us visualize our percents. Well, with our percents, always, whatever number we start with, our original number, which when we talk about it is the number that goes with of, so for example, of 300, that number is always 100%. So if our second number is bigger, our percent is going to be greater than 100. So 600 is 200% of 300. It's greater. So we don't split our diagram. Instead, we have this kind of double bubble there because it's bigger than your normal bubble. So we get this type of diagram when the second percent is greater than 100, or our second number, the is number, that second number is bigger than our original number, our number that goes with of. So look at example 81.1. It says, for which of these problems will the after diagram be a two-part diagram? So it will not look like this, it'll be the one that's split like this. And then it says, for which will the after diagram be a big one-part diagram? So like that. All right. Letter A, 40% of what number is 160? Well, for letter A, 40%. The percent you're looking for is less than 100. So that one is going to be a two-part diagram. Letter B, what percent of 140 is 60? Okay, my original number is 140. Let me see. My original number is 140. So because my original number is 140, my second number is 60. My second number is smaller. So that means it's a two-part diagram because I'm dividing that 140 into two parts. One part is 60, another part is something else. Okay? Letter C, what percent of 60 is 140? Well, for this one, your original number is 60. My second number is 140. Because of that, my second number is bigger, so that means I'm going to use that one big part diagram. Then letter D, 140% of 20 is what number? Well, 140%, that's greater than 100, so it's going to be this two-part diagram. Letter E, what percent of 160 is 280? Well, 160, that's my original number. It's smaller than my second number, 280. So that means I'll use a big one-part diagram, which we will practice on in our next example. Okay, so let's talk through some examples so that you feel like you fully understand what to do. Example 81.2 on page 228 of your book says, what number is 140% of 80? Find the number and draw a diagram that depicts the problem. Okay, so first of all, let's review the very important equation that we have. We have percent over 100 times of equals is. This is the equation that really governs how we solve the problem. So what do we know? Well, it says what number is 140% of 80? This means that we are starting our first bubble, our before bubble, what we start with, which is always 100%. We always start at 100%. Oops, sorry, you can't see that very well. There you go. All right, that is 80. So that's our of number of 80. Then I'm trying to find what number is 140%. Well, 140 is greater than 80. So I'm looking for the number is greater than 100. So this is a larger bubble. That means my number here that's missing is going to be bigger than 80 because 140% is greater than 100. So now let's put the parts into my equation. My percent is 140. So I have 140 over 100 times my of number is 80 equals my is number, the number I'm looking for. Well, 140 divided by 100, I know is 1.4. So I have 1.4 times 80 equals my is number. So 1.4 times 80, multiply that out, I get 112 equals my is number. So 112 is 140% of 80. So a mental check for this is that this number has to be bigger than this one. If it's not bigger, then you know you've done something wrong. And this percent has to be greater than 100. Okay, let's try another one. I'm going to keep my percent bubble here. Okay, so I don't have to redraw it. I'm going to erase all of this so I have more room. All right, let's go to example 81.3. What percent of 40 is 160? Okay, so my original number, my of number, is 40. I'm looking for the percent. Do I know my is number? Yes, it's 160. So 160, that's greater than 40, so I know my percent has to be greater than 100%. So putting this into my problem, I have P over 100 times my of number is 40 equals my second number, 160. Okay? So remember, I can look at this as 40P over 100, because that is what I would get if I were to multiply P over 100 times 40. This is helpful because it helps me to get rid of my 40 over 100 so that I can have P by itself. It becomes, I multiply it by the reciprocal, 100 over 40. So I flip-flop that fraction, cancels out my 40, cancels out my 100. I multiply this side by that same reciprocal, 100 over 40. This cancels out, becomes 1. 40 into 160 is 4. So P, my percent, equals 400. So my answer is 400%. Quick mental check, is 400% greater than 100%? Yes, it is, so I know I did my work correctly, or probably correctly. All right, let's try one more example before you go to your practice. Let's get rid of all this. Okay. So in my last example, 150% of what number is 300? Okay, so 150% of what number? So I'm missing that of number. And it says that 150%, that's my percent, it's greater than 100. Okay. And 300 is our second number. So 300 is 150% of what number? Plug this into my equation. Whoops, excuse me. 150% over 100 times, I'm missing that number, so I'm just going to put an n as my variable, equals 300. To get rid of my fraction, I multiply by the reciprocal. So that means I flip it. I put the denominator in the numerator and the numerator in the denominator. And I multiply the other side by the reciprocal. So 100 over 150. Over here, everything cancels and I'm left with n. Over here, 150 goes into 300 2 times. 2 times 100 is 200. So the number, my original number, is 200. Quick mental check, is 200 less than 300 here? Yes, it is, so I know that I at least went in the right direction. Okay, go ahead and pause your video, do your practice. All right, let's talk through your practice. Letter A says, which of these problems will have a one-part diagram on the right? So that means this bigger one, okay? So it's one part. So number 1 says 40% of what number is 240? That one, no, because it says 40%, so your percent is less than 100. So it would be a two-part diagram, not a bigger one part. Number 2 says 150% of what number is 240? That one, yes, because it's 150%. The percent's greater than 100. Number 3, what percent of 40 is 240? That one too, because your second number, your is number, is bigger than your of number, your first number. Number 4, what percent of 240 is 40? That one, no, because your second number, 40, is smaller than your first number, 240. So it means you've divided it, so you need the two-part diagram. You've divided it. And number 5, what percent of 20 is 80? Well, this is the same as 3. Your second number, 80, is bigger than your first number, 20. So that means you need a one-part diagram. Okay, letter B says, what percent of 20 is 40? Work the problem and draw the diagram. You should have gotten 400%. Then for letter C, you have 140% of what number is 364. Work the problem and draw the diagram. Your of number should have been 260. Okay, let me know if you're having any problems with that concept, and I would be happy to help you. See you in our next lesson. Bye.